Welcome back. Well, that was quite the game. So, there's going to be a lot of controversy. There's going to be a lot of discussion. In the end, the Oilers win a series in 5 games that Calgary won the first game in. And there's going to be a lot of discussion about what happened to Calgary in this series. And there's definitely time to talk about it later. Let us talk about tonight's game, and I will get to the controversial play and the opinions that we've seen from around the hockey world regarding said controversial play. If you did not watch this game, well, you're lost. This was a fantastic game. I'm again, as somebody who's a Canuck fan, I'm glad the Canucks weren't involved in this because boy howdy. Smith versus Markstrom. Toffoli couldn't fire one. The Oilers cleared out. Early play there for Toffoli. That line pretty good. Oilers shot blocking, keep the Flames to the outside early on. Lindholm nearly gets one. The Oilers clear it out, though. The shots on net, 6.5 minutes in, are 2-0 for the Oilers. The Oilers had a good start. And on the road, that's really all you can ask for. And all I kept thinking was, are we going to see a defensive clinic in this one? Because early on, both defenses were playing very, very well. Lucic with a hit that draws cheers shortly after that. Backlund with a net drive, that was defended. Mangiapane has a net feed that's tipped onto the net. Smith saved his first shot 8 minutes into the first period. Ceci then had a shot tipped wide. Yamamoto has a rush chance that's saved. And then at 10:13, on what was only their second shot, Mangiapane scores from Coleman and Backlund. Really nice pass by Coleman. One-timer for Mangiapane. And that gets the crowd really into it. And so Calgary at home, hoping to force a Game 6 with this. The Flames then press for another. They end up getting themselves a power play. Gaudreau's denied and close. Hanifin has a shot that's blocked. Anderson's shot's then saved. Good cycle. Kulak clears it out. The power play's killed off, and then the Oilers press at the other end. McDavid hits the side of the net. Markstrom ends up holding before that gets out into a dangerous area of the ice. Strong Flames forecheck, and I thought their defense played really, really well in that first period. The first period was more along the lines of the Rangers-Carolina series, where it was defense, and then everything would change after that. It was something. The Flames press with 4 minutes left. Gaudreau fires one wide. Zadorov has a shot that's blocked. McDavid, beast mode. Markstrom saves on that. Back and forth rushes in the closing minutes. Goodbranson, defends a chance for Fogle. It's 1-0 after the first period in favor of the Calgary Flames. Second period, Keith defends a Backlund net drive. Zadorov breaks up a Yamamoto chance. Kane had a tip that was saved as the Oilers press. Lewis then had a chance that was held. And automatically, that second period, right out of the gate, you could tell the defense, not worried about no stinking defense. And they really weren't. There were more frequent chances, and they already had more shots before the end of the first half of that second period than they had in the entire first period. So, Hanifin has a sharp angle shot that's saved, as Calgary's thing tonight was shoot from everywhere. Just shoot from everywhere. Hyman's denied and close. Nurse's shot was blocked. The Oilers press at 4.5 minutes. And then they missed a pass while they were doing that, which allows the Flames to get the line change that they needed. And then at 5:41, no chance for Smith on this one. Backlund gets a goal from Stone and Coleman. It was a fantastic tip. Perfect tip by Backlund. Nice shot by Stone that allowed for that tip to take place. And so, it's 2-0. But Puljujarvi's denied on a fast break. Draisaitl with a wraparound that saved, and the Oilers would eventually get it back. At 7:40, first it's Nurse from Draisaitl and Hyman. And then the Oilers, sensing things are going to open up here, they're looking to tie it. Draisaitl's denied. Gaudreau then had a rush chance that was saved. The action's really picking up. And then Puljujarvi scores from Hyman at 9:56. So, the Hyman shot during the 3-on-1 just gets through and almost saved on that by Markstrom, and then Puljujarvi buries it before the Flames are able to clear it. The Oilers then look for the lead. Kane has a net feed that's blocked. The Flames with the 2-on-1. Smith saves there. Big hit by Dubé. Draws some cheers. The Flames rush. Strong forecheck by the Oilers, but the Flames cleared out. Kane then has a rush chance that's saved. Lindholm with a net drive that's saved. With 5:31 left, Dubé takes a charging penalty. You don't want to see that. And so the power play gives the Oilers the lead. And this is where things get really crazy. At 14:57, Hyman from Nugent-Hopkins and Draisaitl. Nice cycle. Oilers lead for 15 seconds. At 15:12, it's Gaudreau from Shillington. Goudreau comes out from behind the net and then wired it far corner. Now, Smith and Goudreau played together. They believed that Smith would have expected Goudreau to try to go short side and high, so he fired it low and wide. That worked. And then at 15:28, 16 seconds later, Yarncroke from Zadorov, he gets his first as a Calgary Flame, and it's a result of a pretty good forecheck. So Zadorov gets it, Yarncroke, and in the net. And then at 16:08, the Oilers tie it again. It's Bouchard from Draisaitl and Keith. So at 16:08, we witness hockey history. This is the fastest 4 goals scored in playoff history. So I looked it up in between the second and third period. The old record was a 1 minute and 33-second period of time where 4 goals are scored in a game between Toronto and Philadelphia in 1976. Philadelphia ended up winning that game 7-1. So that record of a minute and 33 seconds is shattered by the minute and 11 seconds, which is then verified. I was just looking and going math and going, well, that's a minute and 11 seconds. And then I put the check marks. I'm like, yep, I'm right. So a lot of goals in a very short period of time. It started looking like game one. Smith then makes the save on Lindholm, and that was important. It was important that we start seeing these goaltenders making some saves after all these goals go in. 3:24 left. The Flames get a power play. Goudreau has a blast that's held. Hanifin has a shot that's held. Smith not giving up rebounds at this point. Shorthanded Hyman breakaway is saved. That power play is killed off. We roll into the third period with the score tied at 4, and I fully expected I was going to need 2 boards for this game. By this is the end of the second period. I figured the third period should fill the whole board. There's going to be more goals, and then, you know, if we need overtime, other board. But early press by the Oilers in the third. Hyman with a backhand nearly fools Markstrom. He spins it around backhand. Nearly fooled Markstrom on that one. Yamamoto's then denied. Kane couldn't bury the rebound. Most of the first 3 minutes are in the Flame zone, and the Sea of Red became the Sea of Tranquility. Like, it was quiet. So, Sea of Tranquility is on the moon, so pretty quiet up there. Anyways, then there's a post for Coleman on what was a gaff by Smith. So that goes in. We're having a different conversation right now. McDavid has a rush chance that's defended. Glove save and a hold on a Zadorov chance. The Oilers press at 6 minutes. McLeod has a chance that's saved. The rebound is cleared out. And then, you know what? No, I'm not. It's a commercial complaint that I have, but it's not. Because of how big this ends up being, I'm not going to have that discussion now. I'll have that discussion another time. Backlund has a rush chance that's held. McLeod blocks a Lindholm chance. There was a toe save on a Kane chance then, and that was ridiculous. Because the puck kind of changes directions, and it's right off, and I say toe save, but really it's the blade of the skate of Markstrom that kicks it out. It's one of those saves that's underrated in real time, that Markstrom actually makes the save there. So, Mangiapane fires one high from in close. The shots are 4-3 for the Oilers at the half. So not a lot of shots in the first half. We would get a bunch in the second half. Fogle was flattened by Goodbranson. That brings the fans to their feet. Oilers press with 8 minutes left. Bouchard has a chance that's held. 5:57 left. This is where it happens. Coleman scores. Now, I put that up and I'm like, all right, so we're going back to Edmonton for game 6. So it's ruled that it was kicked in. And as soon as they got on the headset, and the announcers, Kelly Rudy, says, well, they might be looking at offside. And I thought, no, if the linesmen are over, it's offside. When it's referees, they're looking at goalie interference or a kick. And so they showed on the replay, and I'm like, well, it went off his skate. But, initially, I thought it went off the outside of the skate. Just on first blush. But it did go off the instep. So Yvonne and I were watching it, and her and I both said, well, that should count. That was our initial belief. We were, yep. And then I said to her, it's off the instep. Those ones can get called back. We've had this discussion going back to, remember the Chandler Stevenson goal? We've been going back that far. If it's off the outside of the skate, probably counts. If it's off the instep, usually doesn't. So as soon as I saw it was off the instep, I was like, okay, this is 50-50. But is Coleman trying to stop? Yes. But, and we'll come back to that. So I will come back to that. Don't you worry. So it's called off, and I've got right here, I disagree. In real time, with this play, I disagreed. But I stuck around, and I don't watch all of the intermissions, but I had to watch the intermission for this one. So McDavid has a blast save the next shift, because now the problem is the Oilers, Well, they can sense that the mood in the building has changed. The Flames are ticked off. So maybe we can take advantage of some defensive deficiencies here, right? So Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a rush chance that's saved. That nervous energy, you could feel that through the TV. I could feel it. Totally get it. Again, if this had happened to Vancouver, this video would be getting posted a lot later. If in Calgary's place it's Vancouver, we'd likely be having some discussions. Not that it would change my opinion at the end of it, but I might still not be happy. Backlund with a net drive that's saved, and so we go to overtime. Now, Brendan Morrison on Twitter slammed the league into the ground for that call on the Coleman goal, said he's trying to stop. You can't kick a puck at that speed when you're trying to stop. Bieksa disagrees with him. Disagrees with him flat. Of course, they were teammates in Vancouver. He believed that with the angle of the skate and the way that Coleman's positioning, that he's absolutely trying to kick that puck in. Jen Botterill also felt that he's looking at his foot. He knows what he's doing. He is kicking that puck in. Elliot Friedman initially said he thought that goal should stand. After Bieksa and Botterill had their discussion, it felt like Elliot was still saying, well, maybe. And so I understand this debate's going to rage on for years. This is remember Tampa Bay, remember the Stanley Cup final in 2004 and the goal that Flames fans are sure should have counted? This is now replacing that. So we're going to overtime, and there is this cloud over the game at this point. But again, if you're the Oilers, you don't care. If you're the Oilers, and after the game, they interviewed McDavid, and he said, we didn't look at it, but yeah, we agree with the call. Meaning, it took their goal off the board. We get to overtime, so it doesn't matter. So, which, again, if that had been Kane that had happened to, would McDavid have felt that way? Probably not. So, stretch pass to Hyman doesn't connect early as the Oilers are looking to finish this. McLeod then forechecks. That leads to a screenshot for Bouchard. That was saved. So Lindholm steals one. His net drive is saved. The next Lindholm blast was kicked aside as Smith realizes no more. That's it. No more goals. I think it's great that he's got a mask that's a throwback to Grant Fuhr, because it's kind of been a Grant Fuhr series where, yeah, you might get that fourth, but you won't get the fifth. It kind of had that feeling to it. So Tkachuk had a shot that was held. The Flames then had a 3-on-2. Dubé's shot gets saved. Then the other way, Foegele can't bury one. But on a forecheck, so the Flames have it in their own zone. The puck ends up going to Draisaitl. Draisaitl gets it to McDavid, and McDavid buries it at 5:03. And so the Oilers win this one in overtime, 5-4. They win the series 4-1. And it is the first time the Oilers have been in the conference finals since 2006. Now, in conference finals, they're 7-2 all time. They lost in 1991 to the Minnesota North Stars. They lost in 1992 to the Chicago Blackhawks. I looked all this up where they were talking about how it's their 10th time going to the conference final. And I realized that the Oilers' record in conference finals is ridiculously good, right? It doesn't necessarily mean anything this year, but it is generally ridiculously good. So your three stars in this one are Hyman, McDavid, and Backlund. I can't argue with those. McDavid gets the goal that takes him to the conference final, although McDavid didn't have a great game. It was Draisaitl that steals this game. He was fantastic. So it's not often you see a guy getting as many points as Draisaitl did and not ending up as one of the three stars. The shots in this one were only 6-5 in the first in favor of Edmonton, 18-13 Calgary in the second period. So 11 shots in the first, 31 shots in the second. In the third, 14-7 in favor of Edmonton. In the overtime, Calgary outshoots them 6-2. Final shots were 36-35 for Calgary. Power plays, the Oilers 1 for 1. Calgary 0 for 2. The hits, 28-23 for Calgary. Smith saves 31 out of 35. Markstrom saves 31 out of 36. There are a lot of discussions to be had now that this series is done. And I understand that there's going to be a lot of upset Flames fans. I'm expecting an interesting comment section under this game, because it is just, and again, the one thing that this kind of made me think of is the Game 7 between Vegas and San Jose. While this is not a Game 7, the way this series turns out ends up hinging on that goal. But the way that it was, I think it was Kevin Bieksa that said after the game, this is a 4-1 series win for the Oilers. The Flames did not play as well against the Oilers as they played against Dallas. They didn't play as well as they did during the regular season either. So this is a win for the Oilers, and now they get to wait for the winner of Colorado and St. Louis, which might be determined tomorrow night, and it might not be. So the Oilers are in the conference finals. They are the last surviving Canadian team. So if you want bragging rights, Oilers fans, you've got them. And again, I understand there are going to be a lot of people who think that goal should have counted. There are going to be a lot of people who think it shouldn't have counted. In the end, Toronto makes that call, and the league says they felt it was a kicking motion. Elliot Friedman talked to his league sources, and they said they believed that it was a kicking motion in the spirit of the rule. So, as they ruled it a kick, here we are. The Oilers are moving on to the next round. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video, and it was a great series. I do wish it had gone to 7 because Game 7 in a Battle of Alberta is fantastic, but this was a very good series. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I will talk to you again soon.